Ilanjalian sir?
Yes, I am here.
Yes, sir. Can we start?
Yeah, can we start or wait for some minutes? So,
We'll start, sir. We'll start. Let the participants join, sir.
okay.
We'll start. So, welcome participants. Welcome back to the second section of the fourth day of the Atal FDP program. Today we have with us Dr. P. Ilanjalian sir for presenting his session for us in this Atal workshop. A few words on our resource person. Ilanjalian sir is an experienced power electronics engineer with a demonstrated history of working in renewable and environmental industry. He is skilled in renewable energy power conversion systems, control system design, reliability testing of power converters, energy storage, and he is proficient with softwares like LT Spice, PILX, MATLAB, and optimization. He has completed his bachelor's in electrical and electronics engineering from VLB Janagi Ammal College of Engineering Technology, and he has completed his master's in power electronics and drives from Anna University Regional Center, and he has completed his PhD in full time from Central Power Research Institute, Bangalore. Currently, he is working as Senior Power Electronic System Engineer in R&D division of Arca Energy India Private Limited. He also has a rich industrial experience working with KK Wind Solutions India Private Limited as technical head, and in CPRI as senior research fellow, and in Anna University Chennai as a teaching fellow. He has handled many projects during his tenure. A few of them are design, verification, and development of Sense R board for grid connected inverters as a project lead in KK Wind Solutions, design and development of integrated energy storage 10 kilowatt for wind system as a project team member in KK Wind Solution, and design, development, and control of single stage off grid solar micro inverter as a project lead and as a part of PhD project in CPRI, and modeling and control of multi-input, multi-output DC-DC converter as a project member in CPRI. He has been a reviewer in IET Renewable Power Generation, IET Power Electronics, IET Electronics Letters, and he has been project invigilator in for various project proposals prepared in KK Wind Solutions India Private Limited and IIT Delhi during tenure, and he has established R&D Power Electronics Lab in KK Wind Solutions. He has published around 15 journals in various national and international journals, and we are really happy to have you with us, sir. And on behalf of the management, the principal organizing team, and HOD, sir, we would like to welcome you again for this session and hand over you the session.
Yeah, thanks for the brief intro. Hi everyone, good afternoon. Start sharing my screen. So is it visible?
It's opening, sir. Yes, sir, it's open. It's visible.
Myself, Ilanjalian. So basically, I want to focus on the power electronic components, which are we can choose or market availability as of today to improve the performance as well as the cost constraint, reduce the cost constraints, and high reliable, and finally the energy efficient. So energy efficient, basically in what are the applications which are running on the battery storage basis?
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, there is a small disturbance in your voice. Some disturbance is there with the your.
Okay. Now, any outside disturbance you are listening or little bit dropping?
I think it's with the mic, I guess, sir. We get a little bit of disturbed sound with this side.
Okay, sure. Just 1 second. So I will try to connect my mobile instead of that. I will share my screen from laptop.
Okay, sir.
Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. It is clear, sir.
Okay. If you are facing any echo problem, let me.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah, sure. Here I can. Okay. So basically, whatever the sorry. So isn't hello.
Yes, sir. So I've made the other profile also course, so you can use the phone also to talk, sir. No issues.
Hello.
Sir, it's audible.
Okay. So whatever the applications which are running on the energy storage. So yes. Ravi, if you are feeling any disturbance, you can tell me. I was trying to in mobile, but it's not working for me.
Okay, sir. Okay. This is fine. So now this audio is clear.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, it's fine.
Hello.
Sir, it is fine now. Sir?
Hello.
Yes, sir. It's fine. You're audible, sir.
Hello.
Hey, you're audible.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going with my laptop itself. So if you are feeling still any disturbance, please tell me so I can find any other. So I'm going with my laptop. So can I continue? Ravi?
So it's visible, sir.
Okay.
We can see your screen.
Okay, you can listen my audio also.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry for the interruptions. So basically, what I was trying to tell you that power electronics are water battery operated system. So we have to ensure that we are utilizing the energy stored in the battery in the efficient manner. Means we have to reduce the losses as much as possible in terms of conversions. So basically, we will be using any DC to DC kind of conversion or DC to AC kind of conversion based on the different load requirement. So also some of the losses in the power electronics basically from the switching means MOSFET and IGBT which are using we are using and the magnetic components. Magnetic component in the sense inductors and transformers. So these are the major main components which are playing major role in the terms of loss and reliability. So in this session, we will go through the components which are basically available in the market for the electric vehicle sector. So which are the one will play the major role in reducing the size, improving the performance and the energy efficiency. And also we will be seeing some of the new upcoming technology in the renewable energy system and new area where the research are so many innovations are going on in the EV system. So basically, I'm a reliability most interested area. You can tell that is reliability. So you people maybe hear that a professor from Frederick Lagerts from Albert University, Denmark. So when I was there in the wind energy, KK wind system, wind solutions, I had opportunity to have a project with Professor Frederick in Albert University. So it is an industrial project we were working on. So in future, we want to focus on the reliability side. It's not about finding out the new topology. It's finding out how we can utilize it efficiently. So reliability is a key role nowadays. So as an industry person, I can tell you. So cost reduction is a main thing. So whatever the product we are developing, we have to focus on 360-degree, which are points. So how we can reduce the cost of the product. So in the cost of the product in the sense, not only the manufacturing. After manufacturing, we are going to in the field, what are the reliability issues should rise, because they are all the electrical components which are developing for the 25-degree room temperature, standard temperature operating conditions. So if it is setting at any cold area, it is setting at any hot area. So it depends. So there are two different environments we are seeing. So the key is, so we have to choose the components according to that. So whenever we are choosing the components, we will see the temperature coefficient and tolerance. So temperature, operating temperature range. So for high reliability, mainly we are focusing on the automotive components, which are using in the electric vehicle, because it is a very robust area where the power electronics are operated for different switching frequency for the speed adjustment. It is kind of very high robust, very robust one. So that's what. So the reliability will cost you. After you are installing the product in the field, if you are facing any kind of damage or issue in the hardware, so you have to pay huge money. because I am ensuring that it will stand for the 20 years or 15 years of warranty period. So if it is failing in between that, so we have to pay the huge money as a loss. So that is not only the loss. Then we have to redesign our converter. Then the redesigning is we have to change the topology. That will take another 6 months or 1 year. So time we have to focus on and money waste. So both two issues are there. That's why now they are started to now they are started to focus on the reliability. So here first one is concept, design, validation, and production. So this 1x is cost of unreliability. So 1x means if it is 1x, if we are in concept itself, if we are considering the reliability issues, so then our loss would be 1x. But after design, you are finding out. During the design, you are finding out this concept in the sense. So when you are bringing up kind of these two, for example, buck converter and designing the buck converter. So when you are bringing up the components, choosing the components and your current operating current and voltage range, as per that component is reliable. So once you present from the concept itself, so you will be having 1x. If you are finding out in the design, so that is the cost 10x, validation products, so 1000x. So you can see here how much it will cost for the reliability if you are facing on the after protection or pre-protection or in the concept. So this is why the industry is nowadays focusing on the reliability. So you can see here, this is a the Stanford University presentation data. This is a cost future. 3 scenarios are there. Yeah, past, present, future. These scenarios are there. Sorry. Yes. Past, present, future. 3 scenarios are there. Past means so what our power electronic research leader focused on. So we will develop a product, but the replacement failure years of warranty. So after the installation, we started to look on the issues. What are the issues rising, and finding out the root cause of the issue, giving the solution. This is how industries and now for the powertrains how we work. Present thing is so low risk analysis. So we will ensure that we will analysis what are the failure mechanism can happen for the particular product. So that is what present. So that present scenario is, so I am predicting. Past is after fault happening, we are finding out the corrective maintenance. Here present is we are making sure that our design means we are considering those fault which can be happen in the future. So according to that, we are designing our product. Present scenario. Future scenario is you can see that predictive maintenance. So this is kind of you can see that artificial intelligence are so many methods. So predictive maintenance in the sense everything will be communicated through the IoT system, and inverter or converter can be controlled through the artificial intelligence. Mean the switching transition means I am continuously running one constant rotating machine. For example, rotating machine, I am continuously running at a particular RPM. So that will be the issue. I can fix it up the frequency, switching frequency. This is my switching frequency to run the drives on the particular speed of RPM. So if it is kind of electric vehicle, I have to accelerate, decelerate. So based on the acceleration, that speed increase will vary. So here there is huge challenge. Means huge challenge. Why I am telling? So switching, if anything happening in the converter, so main thing is our switching. Due to the switching, we are creating so much di by dt, dy by dt. during the switching transitions. So we have to limit or filter it out as much as possible. So the in the electric vehicle, when the vehicle is running, changing the frequent switching cycle is very difficult one. So that is also now I can show you in few further coming slides that artificial intelligence control for the power electric vehicle. So what they are expecting. So you are based on the acceleration range they are predicting. They are feeding into the algorithm. This is how this will be going. So I hope everyone may know that this artificial intelligence or machine learning. So we will be giving one algorithm. We are choosing the algorithm will have some kind of flow. We are feeding our data. So which as per the flow, it will predict something and it will give the control signal. So that is kind of way now in the electric vehicle also they started to use it. Next, I want to just catch up with some basics. So you can see the number one left side. So it's kind of a basic driver circuit for the BJT. So everyone has know that continuous pulse. So why I was trying to show this kind of driver circuits. Also a little bit in components level. So we will be seeing some kind of small block level components. So we will not go in deep in the discrete manner. So this is first one is a kind of simple driver circuit. Second one you can see that means it's kind of buffer. You can call it as it's kind of buffer. Why it is required for the running of the BJT? So for example, at the base of the Q transistor, you can see the current requirement is 2 ampere. But everyone knows that driver circuit is very low voltage circuit. So means I will drive with kind of 3.3 volt or milliampere kind of range. So if I want to supply 2 ampere, so I have to build up a current, bring up the capacity of the circuit to certain level, means my control circuit to give the pulse at 2 ampere. But here you can see the buffer. So kind of back-to-back connected NPN transistors. So here the pulse duration given as a 3.2 milliampere, 6.4 milliampere. That 6.4 milliampere, how it is flowing through this first transformer and the second. So it was keep on accumulating that, and it is giving to 2 ampere to the main transistor. So this is what kind of buffer we are using in the driver circuit. And third one is the isolation. Hope you know, everyone knows there must need isolation between the power circuit and the control circuit, because power circuit is a higher power capable running one, and the control circuit. So if the control circuit disturbs any millivolt disturbance in the control circuit, will make more complex one in the whole product. Everyone knows that simple block diagram. So I am giving some kind of explanation. You can imagine that I am connecting one PV connected to the DC to DC converter and DC bus and DC to AC inverter connecting to the load. So how this control system will work, that is the main thing. So power circuit to circuit. What we will do, we will sense the input current and voltage for the MPPT and the output voltage for the voltage regulations. So we will sense these two parameters. That sensor parameter we will give to the analog to digital controller ADC, and ADC will feed to the microcontroller. That microcontroller will generate the switching pulse. According to that, the switch will be controlled. So in the control side, for the ADC values will be in terms of the millivolts will be there. That any disturbance happen in the millivolt side, you imagine totally your PWM generation will change it totally. If PWM sequence are changing, then definitely your switches will not triggered according to your plan. So there will be a malfunction and there will be a huge loss in that. So that is why everywhere they are preferring for the isolation wherever it is possible. Means kind of flyback converter for the power supplying from input voltage, they will step down, and through using the flyback converter, they will give 5 volt, 3.3 volt kind of supply to our peripheral ICs. So third one is kind of inductor or transformer isolations. The fourth one is optocoupler isolations. See the optocoupler, you know everything. So optocoupler, one of the way to make the triggering to the BJT, and here, so another way is transferring the energy through this kind of transformer. So this is not a power transformer. This is switching transformers. And the fifth one is MOSFET driver circuit. So MOSFET driver circuit, everyone has knows. See MOSFET in gate I connected one resistor. You can see that is how this why that gate resistor nearby one transistor and resistor circuit is there. So this is to do the recombinations, means that the gate charge discharge, how fast we are doing the discharge methodology in that one, that much fast we can control our switches. We can see the switching speed, we can increase the switching speed. That is the purpose. They use the gate side transformer and that resistor one. And top side you can see that fifth circuit, the top one is it's kind of over voltage protection circuit. So voltage will be taken out from this drain side, and it will measured compared with that reference value. Then according to that compared reference value, that transformer and the input means that VG side transformer will get triggered. So according to the over voltage, it will be triggered and it will disconnect this MOSFET from the switching pulse. Okay, then now we jump into the recent power electronics components for EV design. So as I told you, the sensing is a very important one in terms of any power electronic circuits, because based on the sensing, we will be triggering our switches, we will be generating our PWM pulses. So as much as accurate one, we have to choose it. So this is a kind of IC. You can see here left side IP numbers and out and ground pins. So this is kind of IC. GMR, AMR resistive sensors, means they are magnetoresistance. These are magnetoresistance sensor. So which will be using, because this bandwidth will be high. Bandwidth means if you are having more bandwidth, then you can choose means the range of scaling will be high. So for the high bandwidth, otherwise what will happen? No, if it is low bandwidth, if my bandwidth, low bandwidth means for the 10 volt equal to 1, means 10 to 100 number of voltage, we will be having around 20 number of sequence. High bandwidth 10 to 100 number of voltage, we will have around 1000 number of sequence. So if it is low bandwidth, then there will be the error. If it is 10 to 11, 10 volt and 11 volt is the next bandwidth. Then if it is 10.5, it will not recognize that. If it is not recognizing 10.5, if low bandwidth one, then our PWM generated for this 11 volt, not 10.5 volt. So that is why for the input sensing, we have to accurately generate the PWM pulses. So that's why we are using high bandwidth, though these are the high bandwidth sensors for the current measurement. And these are the market availability new sensors. You can see the first one is resistor kind of one. And these are different sensor for the different applications. So where based on the power rating, you can choose it one. You can see the third one. Due to the parasitic inductance in the resistor, whatever you are using in the measurement, so you can see the parasitic inductance, there will be the issues will be rise in the measuring side. So when I am measuring across the resistor for the voltage input side measurement or output side measurement, if it is having parasitic inductance, so there will be the huge disturbance in the PWM. So now the PMR series right side one, they created new one with a small inductance. So like this, the second one is the GMR. You can see the temperature now 142, 107 degree Celsius. So these are the thing means for the high robust manner, I have to bring up the components such that it is dissipating the low amount of temperature, it is creating the low thermal. We are not having any. We can push it to somewhat a higher power rating. So if that temperature limit, whatever, how we are controlling our temperature limit, that much we can push our strength of the converter or product to extreme level. So this is what the research now which is going on in EV side. And as everyone knows that silicon carbide, it is playing major role, especially in the EV industries. So due to its low on resistance, the right side top one, you can see that one comparison between the silicon and silicon carbide. So the breakdown electric field of silicon is 0.3, silicon carbide is 3.1. Which is nothing but high voltage and low on state resistance. Low on state resistance and high switching switching speeds, we can do it in the silicon carbide. And this thermal conductivity, you can see with the silicon 1.5, silicon carbide 4.9. If high thermal conductivity, there will be the high dissipation. Then no need of having the excess cooling circuit, making the circuit or product very big size. We can reduce the size of the product. And bottom one, you can see the comparison between the silicon and silicon carbide. So there is around power loss reduced by 47%, switching loss decreased by 85%. This is one, it can clearly show that in graph level how the within silicon carbide, silicon MOSFET, and silicon carbide MOSFET also, what they are telling now, they are next generation, means you can see that the bottom one, that planar and the trench MOSFETs. So both are same one, but the next generation one, they are bringing up, they are increasing the switching speed and reducing the size by reducing the means that on RDS on in the MOSFET. How you will select the silicon carbide? This is one big issue. So how you will select the silicon, not only the silicon carbide MOSFET. So we cannot say that a data sheet given to operate at for 100 voltage and 100 ampere. That is not the way to choose the MOSFET. So for example, here you can see that the VDS is 1200 volt given, then ID is 17 ampere. If you are directly multiplying with 1200 into the 17, so you maybe get around 1.2 kilowatts something in the one, but it is practically it is not the case. So that will be the highest range. See, at the minimum ampere 1200 volt, at the maximum current there's a particular minimum volt, that 17 ampere. So both are different manner. So that's how power dissipation they used to give in the data sheet, 1 or 3 watt. So what we have to do, so we have to select the safe operating area of the MOSFET. So everyone has know the safe operating area within that limits that in the component or product can work without any issues. So this is how, because the we are purchasing from different vendor. For example, Infineon, they are giving one MOSFET. So it is having some kind of VDS and IDS values. So we have to define the safe operating area before putting into our product. So our product operating conditions we have to ensure. And this maximum operating is not we are having 3 different value in the product. Whatever the product, we are having 3 different values. One is this one, minimum value, nominal value, maximum value. This maximum value will give you the worst case scenario. That maximum, this is the limit, can current rise or voltage can appear in particular thing. So the worst case scenario will judge your components. So we have to choose all the components for the worst case scenario. During that worst case scenario, my MOSFET or IGBT or silicon carbide MOSFET, so whatever the switching di by dt happening across the switching transition has to be have peak value within this limit. So we can see the one testing methodology. In upcoming slides, I have added that one testing methodology to find out the dV by dt, di by dt of particular MOSFET and matching with the data sheet. Not only the MOSFET switching transition, diode reverse recovery time also we have to ensure that, because we have to give the sufficient time for the reverse recovery. So reverse recovery time based on the different types of diode, it will vary kind of microsecond or nanosecond kind of thing. So reverse recovery time, we have to give sufficient time before the next pulse or next trigger. Before next trigger, we have to give sufficient time. So that has to be verified with that double pulse test methodology to ensure that our product diodes, whatever the diodes we kept in the product as per our product operating conditions, so that reverse recoveries are lying within the data sheet specified limit. You can see that so different features we've seen in that silicon carbide. So low resistance, high frequency operations, and high temperature operations. See, once we gone to the low resistance, due to the low resistance, so we can increase the frequency, we can reduce the size of the component, and high frequency similarly, that is not switching frequency, high switching frequencies, component sizing will get reduced. So that is one main thing, because in EV system now another issues are they are focusing to reduce the weight of the car or electric bike. So they have to reduce as much as possible to means to increase the energy density, means energy utilization. So if they are try to making up with the minimum standard weight for the vehicle to ensure that it will give more running mileage or kilometers compared to others. So now that's why they gone with the silicon carbide. And high temperature, when the temperatures are dissipation or conductivity is more, then definitely there will be the need of high cooling fans or high heat sinks. Huge heat sinks are not required for the silicon carbide. And you can see some kind of 4 points I mentioned. So you must know some kind of protection in the driver circuits. So ultra voltage lockout means nothing but, for example, it is 18 volt is my threshold voltage of the silicon carbide MOSFET. 18 to 14 is the range, but the voltage, if it is going less than 13.8, so definitely it will it has to be disconnected. It should not trigger that. So these ultra voltage lockout features will be added on in the driver circuit. And the common mode transient immunity 100 volt means that per nanosecond 100 voltage. That kind of transient, it has to be sustained. That's why common mode, because these are the other parameters which are can create malfunctioning in the driver circuit. So common mode transient immunity, one of the protection features in the driver circuit, and threshold voltage. So most probably most of us know that the silicon carbide nowadays they are asking to have some kind of negative power supply to turn on the keep the device in the on condition, because if it is that leakage current flowing through the gate and through the gate resistor, so if it is creating the minimum record value to trigger the device, that malfunctioning will happen. So what nowadays they are doing, they are connecting on the switch at the gate side, means gate resistor, and it will flow through the switch. So only the switch activated time it can flow. If the switch is not activated, then there is no be the current flow. It will not trigger our MOSFET for malfunction. So that is how this is the number from the RH Ohm manufacturer. They are having this kind of protection levels. Means 14.5 volt ultra voltage lockout, output voltage protection. So these are the protections for the silicon carbide MOSFET gate driver circuits. After that, once we chosen the silicon, see these are the components. You just keep in mind. So we seen the resistors, sensing circuits, silicon carbide MOSFET. Now silicon carbide Schottky diodes. So Schottky diodes, you can see that within the fast recovery diode, which are now currently using with our silicon MOSFET, silicon fast recovery diode, then compared to the silicon Schottky barrier diodes. The red one is silicon carbide Schottky barrier diodes. The blue one is silicon diode. So you can see that how much they are reduced. The reverse recovery means the recombination time they are reduced in that one. Because once we reduce this, then automatically for the purpose of silicon carbide is high switching. So we have to ensure that all other depending components also getting charge and discharge or on and off within the certain limit of switching frequencies. So this is fourth generation. You can see here that means current current one and old one. You can see that one, that blue and red one. In the graph, you can see that blue and red one. Blue one having the recovery noises. That you can see the impulse voltages compared to the red one. So this is how the new one they are having for the high reliable and very low transient disturbance. One second, I will try to hide this. Yeah, this is the full silicon carbide power module. So means now it's not kind of olden days we are connecting 4 MOSFET on in each leg 2 MOSFET and connecting the driver circuit in the breadboard level or soldering levels. It's not kind of way nowadays that is some kind of C-type, E-type module. It will consist of the silicon carbide MOSFET. If you want kind of 4 leg, so per module they can have 3 leg, 6 number of components in the place. So this electric vehicle, we are choosing this kind of thing, and it is something having inbuilt driver, something having external driver opportunities. So most probably we are going with the external only because for the isolation purpose. So this is full silicon carbide model, which one we are now using with the electric vehicle. There is the comparison between the IGBT and full silicon carbide MOSFET. So you can see that around the switching losses are reduced by 80% compared to the silicon IGBT to the silicon carbide MOSFET. So here also you can see right side they mentioned the SBD, Schottky barrier diode, in for this bypassing through the switch 1 or switch 2. So with the silicon carbide. Peripheral silicon carbide ICs. So why I was thinking, I already mentioned that driver circuit ICs having different kind of protection features. Apart from that, as I told you, we must have some kind of isolation between the high voltage circuit or high power circuit to the low power circuit. So basically this driver circuit, what are the driver circuit input we are giving 5 volt or 3.3 volt from our playback converter, and the sensed signal will compare to the reference will generate the PW. So this is how the driver circuit has operated, and pulses given to the silicon carbide MOSFET. But we must have some kind of isolation between the high power and low power. That's why this particularly this IC mentioned here for the telling that 250 means 2.5 kilovolt to 3.75 kilovolt RMS isolation. So these isolations we will be mentioning in terms of this either 3000 or 5000 volt RMS isolation. This is how the driver circuit isolated between the driver circuit and this control circuit, control circuit and power circuit. This is one type of IC. Now that market they are giving 2500 to 3750 VRMS isolation between the control and power circuit. So next thing is AC to DC converter IC. As we seen there in the silicon module, we seen kind of E-type and C-type clubbing 6 number of switches together. So another thing is AC to DC converter IC. So we are not going to have some kind of physical AC to DC converter, means any rectifier for out bridge, full bridge, single switch kind of thing. So that will be the IC they are now utilizing with a high voltage protection of 690 volt. This will be this IC will be placed in terms of converting from AC to DC, and this will be connected to our silicon carbide module, which consists of 6 number of switches in 3 legs in one module. It will be connected. So why these are the things? So once everything we are making as a package, so what it will means high durable, high reliable one. So even some days some problem happening, so we can just replace that components. One more thing. And another thing is, so everything is that emission means there is no, we are trying to make sure that electromagnetic interference, EMI, EMC issues are also very low as much as possible by choosing this kind of the component block levels. So right side you can see the comparison, silicon carbide and the silicon MOSFET, the AC to DC converter IC. What is that efficiency? Yeah, intelligent power modules. So I told that different protection in the driver circuit. So you can see here high voltage and low voltage driver circuits. So it is having the fast recovery diode, as we said that SB Schottky barrier diode. This is for the IGBT, not for a silicon carbide. Intelligence power module for the IGBT. So built-in temperature sensing. So temperature sensing, what we used to do now, the normal converters or inverters, we used to have some kind of thermal sensors or thermal sensing methodology externally, not inbuilt one. So here they replaced with the inbuilt, that is called intelligent one. So it will sense the temperature, because my operating temperature will lie within the 20 degree to 25 degree to 60 degree maximum. So if it is crossing the 60 or 50 degree, 60 degree maximum, from 45 degree itself, it will start derating. Derating means that called temperature derating or load fold back, the feature is called. So why it is means, so when the temperature is rising, we may not operate our converter at 100% loading. Definitely we have to bring down that generating percentage. So for 45 degree it will start to derating. So for example, 45 degree it will come to 90, 50 degree it will come to 80%. So 55 it will come to 70%, 60%. Then it will disconnect. It disconnect from the system. So disconnect, reconnect will be there. So totally getting fault is a different thing. So it will get disconnect. So that's called this temperature derating. For that purpose, we used to measure the temperature across the switching devices to ensure that according to that we have managed thermal derating inside the converter. Okay, inside the converter, not externally. Externally measuring and the triggering is a different one. So because why I'm telling this particular feature, yes, externally when you are measuring to sampling to comparing to sending the signal to receiver end. So this is have some kind of time delay. So this time delay will cause so many things in the converter side. For example, if it is 2 millisecond to 1 millisecond or 100 microsecond, so it's a time delay means within, you can imagine that our AC cycle, one cycle AC cycle is equivalent to around 20 millisecond roughly. So 20 millisecond. So if we are thinking that then one cycle is completed. If it is we are not able to react within certain the time limit. For example, I'm telling there's such kind of single cycle. There is so many switching cycles we are having. So for the switching cycles, we have to measure the temperature immediately from the board itself. That is how that intelligent power module it will sense, and it will make the derating of that one. And these protected features we explained: ultra voltage lockout, short circuit protection, and thermal shutdown. So same intelligent power module for the MOSFET. So we can silicon carbide MOSFET intelligent power modules. So there is the comparison in the right side top. You can see that between the intelligent power module of IGBT and silicon carbide MOSFET. So there is around 45% of loss reduction. So so now we are telling replacing the silicon carbide MOSFET with IGBT. So many places we are telling that replacement. But another thing is cost effective. Silicon carbide is more costly compared to the IGBT. So why? Unless otherwise we are having the requirement such that it has to be triggered with that much 100 kilohertz or something, and subsequently it has to be have high thermal stability, then only we will be going to the silicon carbide. If the load requirement, it can run up with the IGBT or silicon carbide MOSFET, silicon MOSFET. Based on the load requirement, we are choosing the silicon carbide, silicon or IGBT. Because in coming slides, I can show one of the circuits, means that the ignition circuit, I think they are using the IGBTs. Ignition circuits. Near put the key and when start the one, how it was triggered and to the spark plug. So that circuit having the IGBTs. So these are the different intelligent power modules: silicon carbide IGBT, this silicon carbide MOSFETs, barrier diodes, driver circuits. So these are the components. It is cumulative bringing up to the onboard charger of electric vehicle, DC to DC converter of electric vehicle, AC to DC converters, and inverter circuits. So these means AC compressor. So now electric vehicle, they are using the AC electrical compressor. So these are the things will be using these kind of module size. They will take these kind of components and making sure that high reliable, energy efficient, improving the utilizing the efficient manner of battery stored energy. Okay, next one is power electronics blocks in EV. So now earlier we seen the component level. Now we can see how the component level we are going into the block level. So you can see here some kind of block diagram. So different converter for different loads. For example, some motor I am having the inverter. If the car inside, if I have to display, I will have DC to AC converter. And if some luxury loads will be there, that roof opening, temperature sensors, door lock. So many things are record different type of power and different type of range the power. So that will be controlled by our either DC to DC or DC to AC converter. So you can see here these DC to DC converters supplying the auxiliaries in the sense that whatever the small inside equipments or kind of sensors, door sensors, or so many things needs power supplies. The sensors in the sense, so the sensor will have kind of battery or some kind of energy supply requirement. Otherwise, it cannot run that one. It cannot sense that one. So it requires the supply. So that has to be supplied by this kind of auxiliaries from DC to DC converter. And for the motor from battery, we are running the motor through inverters and charging the motor through onboard charger. So different. So you can see here. So here it is mentioned each converter: silicon carbide MOSFET, gate driver IC, and SBD, Schottky barrier diode, silicon carbide MOSFET, gate driver IC, and shunt resistor. So whatever we are seeing in the component, it all placed in different block levels. See here that fast charging station, our external fast charging station will use silicon MOSFET, silicon carbide, and all those components, whatever we discussed one. So you can see here IGBT, gate driver circuit, and shunt resistor for air compressor and PTC heater. So based on the load, we are choosing the if the load requires only low switching speed is enough to run the load, then we can go to the IGBTs considering the losses. So this block diagram will give different of voltage and applications. You can see 48 volt, 24 volt, 12 volt, 7.4. So you can see different TV recorders.
So why I'm telling this is not available on the stock on the direct DC power supply. So we will be getting around 48 volt or converted from the means AC to DC. We are converting. We are directly getting around 40 to 48 volt or 50 volt something. So what we need to do, we have to do so many power supplies to so many different small loads. For example, control circuit, we have to do 3.3 volt. So what we have to need to do, we have to convert either 48 to 3.3 if it is possible, if it is available. If it is not available, what we will do, 48 to 12 volt, 12 volt to 3.3 volt. So 48 to 12, some kind of energy loss, 12 to 3.3, some kind of energy loss. So now they are trying to bringing up with kind of load. It means that 24 volt will be the standard one, which are using for the kind of DC bus. 24 volt DC bus can supply different load. So directly nowadays converters, they brought the converters to directly convert to 24 to 3.3 and supply to the load. So these are the new things that are now going on in electric vehicle in terms of DC to DC conversions. As I told that power supplies, DC to DC power supplies. So these are some kind of 3 type of power supplies, including the different protection circuits. You can see here the different numbers. So 24 to 5 volt, 24 to plus or 5 or minus 5 volt, 5 volt to 5 volt. So there, wherever the requirements are there, so right side you can match with the thing we seen in the right side, that driver circuit, the small one, sorry, left side. So example in inverter, how these power supplies are utilized. So different as I told, different power supplies. So now the 24 to 5, either one more 5 to 5 or 24 to 5 we can utilize to supply the driver circuit and to run the MOSFET. That is what I explained in the left side, the block circuit diagram, from the MCU, isolator and gate driver and the MOSFET. So lower and higher switches. So first block diagram circuit is onboard charger. So this is kind of AC to DC converter and having different components which are we discussed. So you can see that the block diagram having high voltage in the red color mark right side top, low voltage in the low side blue. So why I am telling, there is the isolated gate driver. You can remember that what we see in the peripheral IC, that is called around 2500 volt RMS isolation. So that is how the isolated between the low voltage and high voltage. So that is how why that driver circuits are chosen. So you can see this is circuit topology. You will be familiar with that. Just I want to show that how they are utilized, that recent components, silicon carbide MOSFETs as means Schottky barrier diodes. And similarly, the DC to DC converter, you can see here DC to DC for the auxiliaries as we see in there. So he see here see low voltage battery, and it will be converted through the converter for the low voltage electronic control units. So small auxiliaries will be supplied by the DC to DC converter. So there we are having same left side high voltage, right side low voltage. There will be the isolation between both the high and the low voltages, and this driver, and these are the kind of intelligent power module one. So with our we seen earlier, and finally that main inverter circuit. So main inverter circuit, you can see that right side high voltage, left side low voltage, and isolated gate driver we are using. So once again, it is kind of our intelligent power modules we are utilizing for the inversion side. Similarly, for the DC to DC converter ICs for the DC to DC conversions. This is the circuit of electric compressor circuit. So as I told, So this is we are using here as a IGBT for the controlling the inverter for the means that motor rotation control will be controlled by the IGBT inverter switch. So this is for the electric compressor. So left side we can see most of the places they are having that flyback power supply to from directly to give the 3.3 volt or 5 volt voltage regulator. So DC to DC converter, they are giving voltage regulation to maintain the constant voltage for the MOSFET and the silicon diode diodes. Ignition IGBT circuits. Ignition through IGBT. Right side circuit, you can see that IGBT ignition switch. When the switch is triggered, then immediately that is connected to the IGBT. IGBT will get triggered. Once the IGBT trigger, that boost coil will energize. That energy will transfer to the next side, and spark plug is activated. So this is how our ignition system will be working. So once it is switch, ignition switch turned on, that the battery start to give the supply, because unless otherwise there will be the activation in the switch. Yeah, as I told earlier, so one kind of double pulse test for the dissipation, high power dissipation across the silicon carbide MOSFET, silicon IGBT, silicon MOSFET. So we have to ensure, because repeatedly I'm telling, the losses majorly lying based on the how we are controlling the switching transition. Controlling in the sense, we have to choose correct switch or MOSFET rated MOSFET for our particular applications. So there will be the huge different numbers. So we have to choose correct particular MOSFET which is lying for our specifications. So this is called the double pulse test circuit. So you can see here, right side is the simple waveform IDS and VDS. So circuit I will give rough explanations. So what is the double pulse test circuit? Nothing but single leg MOSFET or IGBT we will be having, and we will be connecting equivalent inductor load. So what will be my load for the particular inverter or converter? So equivalent load will be connected across this one. So first I will trigger to the one base side, low side MOSFET with the particular duration, for example, 10 milliseconds. So then turn off will happen. So next cycle I will give around 3 milliseconds, not a 10 milliseconds. So what will happen actually? So this is two different duration of pulses. So first pulse, I will choose the time according to my inductor value. So how much time required to charge the inductor fully. So that is my time of first pulse. So second pulse, when I am giving the second pulse immediately, short pulse. So you can imagine that there will be the huge di by dt will happen across the switching transitions due to the stored inductor and power supplies. So this is how this you can see. Left side one is a turn on time. So right side one is a turn off time. So you can see here that standard we followed is IEC 60747. So this is the standard. And turn on time, turn off time, probably you know that with the you know very well what is the turn off time, 10% to 90% of VDS, IDS, ID, or what is the turn off time, 90% to 10%. So this is how we used to calculate turn on the turn off time. So why I am telling that? So we will calculate dead time. You maybe probably know the dead time. So dead time, for the calculating the dead time, we must know that turn on and turn off time. Dead time is nothing but in single leg. You imagine single leg, two switches are there. The two switches must not triggered simultaneously at a particular time. It should not trigger at the same time. To ensure that we will be having some kind of dead time between the top switch and the bottom switch. So that dead time will be, for example, 400 nanosecond. I will keep my dead time. So according to that, I will trigger. So for measuring or calculating the dead time, we need this kind of turn on and turn off time calculations. You can see here the procedure as I explained earlier. So during the first pulse, how the energy, how the current flow will happen. That the green one, number one. So it will go through the inductor, charge it, and through the switch, it will close the cycle. Second, when it is off, that charged inductor will be circulated through the body diode of the particular switch. And the third pulse, once again, we given the short pulse. So once again, that current will start flow through the inductor and the switch. But during this time, that we'll be seeing more dV by dt and dy by dt. So you can see here between the turn on is mentioned here. So you can see here fall on VDS and rise on ID. Both VDS and ID fall and rise are happening. So probably we are looking kind of smooth transition. So how the waveform is showing. But in practical, we cannot see like this kind of thing. You can see that means high oscillations, high peak oscillations. You can see within this turn on signal. So that oscillations must be reduced by using proper snubber circuit or proper protective circuits, and also it will be eliminated by using the controlling the switch in the optimum way. The optimum way in the sense, as we seen here, inductor. So inductor current will be there. Inductor current will circulate. So during that, because of this, inductor current will happen. So we have to do some kind of analysis how we can make kind of soft switching to reduce these kind of switching oscillations. So here website I given that this is the formula what we are used to define that energy loss across the MOSFET. It is called switching loss. You know the switching loss, turn on but turn off. Conduction loss, you know that during the switching conduction time, what is the current flow through and the resistor generated across the switch, because then the conduction loss. Why we are calculating the switching loss? So what we will do, we will calculate the switching loss. We will do the thermal modeling. So thermal modeling will be based on the switching loss for the different current rating. For example, if the circuit is rated for 100 ampere, so first I will start with 20 ampere, then 30, 45, 60. So this kind of current rating, example to 0% to 120% of the current rating, we will calculate the thermal behavior of the MOSFET. So 120% is must to my worst case. So I may be known that at 120%, this is my expected heat dissipation in the MOSFET. So because the both are that power loss and heat dissipation, and otherwise that efficiency and the heat dissipation are inversely proportional. If dissipation is high, we will be seeing more losses, and low number efficiency will be very low. Okay, new developments in EV. So as I discussed to you, there will be the artificial intelligence control technique. So what they are, so I'm not going into the deep one, just I've gone through that article. I'm explaining what I understood in that one. So what they are trying to say, see, he can see that drivetrain losses dominate most EV up to 500 mph speed. So up to 500 mph speed, they are telling the losses will be more in the EV side. So because when we are accelerating, so that instantly that transition time has to be as low as possible. Instantly, we cannot activate the IGBT silicon carbide MOSFETs or IGBTs to generate the pulses. So as I told that, there will be the delay where if it is a motor, we will be measuring that RPM. We are sensing that current and RPM. comparing with the reference value, generating the PWM pulses based on the PI control compensation. We are generating the pulses will be triggered to the this one, our switches. So there will be the transition delay. So that is how they are telling. So for example, for 1 second I am running at for example, I am telling 700 RPM. So next I am rising to 725. So my voltage supply has to be given as per that requirement. So if due to delay, if with any imbalance happen between this power supply, then as per my load requirement, I cannot satisfy my power side. So there will be the huge losses both on the load side and our converter side. This is what they are claiming in the artificial intelligence trigger. So what they are telling, so they will predict with the speed, and they will pre-switch. They will do the pre-switch of the MOSFET for the different speed. So can see here based on the pre-switch. What they are telling, they are reduced to the energy loss across the switching transition. This is on time. Eon during Eon energy is 2.5 millijoules with a hard switch, and here it is around 0.08 during the on time, and during the off time 1.25 millijoule, here 0.013 joules. So this is what they are claiming. Because why it is here, you can see here load dV by dt, di by dt. Here you can see here. So there will be the oscillations between in the dV by dt or ID or VDS. So due to lower dV by dt, they are claiming that lower energy losses. So lower dV by dt means so by analyzing our inductor current or inductor current value, so based on that they are triggering that they are making the pre-switch conditions such that we will not having huge dV by dt or dV by dt. So this is some kind of comparison. So this one is they are telling, so instead of running at 10 kilohertz, the system P speed can be increased to the 100 kilohertz. This means that the inverter is more efficient, smaller transistors. So means at particular point, if it is required to run increase the means it is called dynamic switching pulses. So dynamic switching pulses will be given to control the our inverter switches. So this is how that pre-switch will trigger. So because of that, they are claiming that efficiency. They are able to maintain the current at a particular level. Hard switching means at 60 kilohertz, there will be the current drop in hard switch one. Soft pre-switch one, they are claiming that there are more, they are able to maintain the current. There is no drop. And losses you can see here between the pre-switch without pre-switch. There will be a huge some in kind of improvements are there in the pre-switch. And I will try to show that transition. My audio is not clear. Huh? Sorry. Ravi?
Sir, it's fine now, sir. Initially it was like that, now it's fine, sir.
Sorry, now just I was seeing that the chat.
Yeah,
no. Okay. One question, sorry, ignition is for IC engine, am I correct? This is for EV. So ignition for the EV, what we are explaining that. Okay, 1 second, I will try to show some kind of animation where I have seen in that one. Okay, after completing this PPT, I will show the animation, how they are artificially, they are changing their switching cycle. Okay, I think mine is getting some lag in the system. So, okay. Okay, next new implementation, this kind of Protean powertrain, the company called Protean. So they are telling that they will be installing the motor, inverter, the everything set one set in the wheel itself. So why they are trying to climb? So you can see here. So this is how the structure, disc brake, inverter, stator, rotor, and the wheel. Okay, this is what they are climbing. So you can see that blue one. So in the left down one, they are telling instead of keeping the motor in this place, red color they are showing the motor. So drive, instead of keeping drive in the place, they are telling they will be fixing with the wheel. So this space will be utilized to keep some kind of battery bank. Right side you can see that. So I can add more battery bank in that space, and I can increase the range up to 350 kilometer. So compared to the existing vehicle, we can increase the up to 350 kilometer range. So this is what they are claiming. Additionally, they can add up to 24 modules, 64 kilowatt hour capacity in the particular place. So this is how they are telling, they are trying to model in the wheel itself. Okay. Okay, then just I will try to show that animation. Yes. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
One Google Chrome page I just opened.
So that we are not able. So we are able to see the presentation only, sir. You have to stop the presentation and then you have to again share it, sir, so that only we will be able to see that.
Okay, okay, understood. Okay, I will do the new share. I think now you are able to see this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is top side. There is they are telling the pulses. The pulses will change dynamically. So according to that inductor, this green one they are claiming as inductor current. So by keeping that as a reference, they are able to make the smooth switching transition. So by keeping the different type of switching speed, means from 100 kilowatts to for 10 kilowatts to 100 kilowatts. Yes. Okay. Then any question from audience?
So we have a question, sir. Spark plug is for what? We have.
No, ignition once you turned on the switch. That's what I explained. I think I seen the question in the chat window. This is for the EV. I think I can show one more. Yeah. So this is for EV. So once our electronic circuit unit, once we started this, okay, once that IGBT is activated, that primary side coil will energize, it will transfer to the secondary side. So it will act, it will ignition will start on the vehicle. Hello.
Sure, audible, sir. Audible, sir.
Yeah,
Participants,
yeah.
if you have any queries, you can ask our resource person. So they're asking for your contact details. Can you share it? If you have it in the PPT, you can share it, I guess, sir.
Yeah, sure. So I can share it. Once again. Share the screen. PPT. Yes. I think so. I can put it in the chat window.
Yes, sir.
If something, if I would like to get some feedback also, if it is informative or somewhat a little bit useful for everyone. So please give your feedback. Yeah, I have put it in the chat.
Thank you, sir. Participants, if you have any more queries, you can post in the chat box.
Yeah, I think here they can rise through this one. Is it right? Rise through the chat window. They can raise the questions.
Yes, sir. They can do, sir.
Okay. Because I was asked the feedback.
No, sir. It is for everyone. So the feedback was for it was for the session feedback, sir.
Okay, no issues. Okay, anything from your side do you want to tell?
So it was very informative session, and we had a brief overview on various concepts which was graphically explained, and we had a wonderful time. I hope the participants also would have enjoyed the sessions thoroughly. So if there are no more questions, I think we will wind up the session. So at this juncture, I would like to thank Mr. Dr. Ilanjalian sir for sparing his time towards our Atal FDP and for covering the sessions on power electronic components in electric vehicle. On behalf of the management, principal, C sir, HOD sir, and the organizing team, and on behalf, I would like to thank sir for sparing his time for this wonderful session. Thank you, sir. We hope we will meet again in upcoming sessions also.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank everyone for the patience. And so this is not only about the components, it is about how we are going to conserve the energy. So because battery storage is very important one. So even our mobile battery, how we are utilizing the energy. So that is what it mentioned for the components, so different components, kind of energy conservation. Yeah, thanks everyone. If you have any queries, you can please drop a mail to me so I can take it forward. If you want any other discussion regarding this, so basically I am on the reliability side. So if you want anything in terms of controlling or reliability or any thermal issues discussions that is also most welcome from your side. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you, sir. We'll stop the session now, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.